The sun blazed high above a turquoise sea, its rays bouncing off the waves like a disco ball at a kid's party. 5 kids, Sophie, Liam, Emma, Noah, and Ava, found themselves sprawled on a sandy beach, surrounded by towering palm trees and the squawking of some very opinionated seagulls. Their ship, a rickety old cruise boat they'd won a trip on through a cereal box contest, had decided to take a permanent nap at the bottom of the ocean. Luckily, the kids had washed ashore on this deserted island, with nothing but their backpacks, a crate of bananas, and an unbreakable sense of humor. Sophie, with her wild red curls bouncing like springs, was the first to sit up, spitting sand out of her mouth. "Well, this is just great," she said, brushing off her neon green swimsuit. "I signed up for a tropical cruise, and now I'm starring in Castaway, the Kid Edition." Liam, a lanky boy with glasses that were perpetually sliding down his nose, grinned and adjusted his baseball cap. "Look on the bright side, Soph. We've got no homework, no parents telling us to clean our rooms, and," he kicked the crate of bananas, "an all-you-can-eat buffet of yellow goodness." Emma, who had already started braiding her long brown hair to keep it out of her face, rolled her eyes. "Liam, if you think I'm eating nothing but bananas for the rest of my life, you're bananas. We need a plan. Like, now." She stood up, hands on her hips, looking like she was about to organize a corporate retreat instead of a survival mission. Noah, the smallest of the group with a mop of black hair and a mischievous grin, was already digging through his backpack. "Plan, Schman! I've got something better." He pulled out a whoopee cushion with a triumphant flourish. Ta-da! Instant entertainment. Before anyone could stop him, he plopped it under a nearby coconut and sat on it, letting out a loud, ridiculous peef. The sound echoed across the beach, and the seagulls froze mid-squawk, staring at him like he'd just insulted their ancestors. Ava, who had been quietly sketching the palm trees in her notebook, burst out laughing so hard she dropped her pencil. "Noah, you're gonna scare the coconuts away with that thing." Her blonde ponytail swung as she doubled over, her giggles contagious. Soon, all 5 kids were cracking up, the stress of being shipwrecked temporarily forgotten. Okay, Sophie said, wiping tears from her eyes. "We're stuck on an island, but we're not going to be boring about it. Let's make this place our own personal amusement park." She grabbed a stick and started drawing in the sand, a wobbly map of the island. "Here's the beach, there's the jungle, and over there's where Noah's gonna fart us into oblivion." "Hey," Noah protested, but he was grinning. He grabbed another stick and added a giant smiley face to the map. "And this is where we build the ultimate sandcastle, like epic, with turrets and a moat and maybe a slide." Liam pushed his glasses up and squinted at the jungle. "You know, there's probably stuff in there we can use. Vines for ropes, leaves for shade, maybe even some fruit that isn't bananas." He paused, then added with a smirk, "Unless you guys want to turn into monkeys." "Monkeys would be cool," Ava said, sketching a cartoon monkey in her notebook. "They'd probably throw coconuts at Noah for fun." "Rude," Noah said, but he was already plotting his next prank. He sneaky tiptoed behind Emma, who was busy analyzing Sophie's sand map, and slipped the whoopee cushion under her foot. When she stepped back, another glorious pfft rang out, and Emma spun around, her face a mix of horror and amusement. "Noah!" she shrieked, chasing him down the beach. Noah cackled, dodging between palm trees, his skinny legs pumping like a cartoon character. The others watched, laughing so hard they could barely breathe, as Emma finally tackled him into the sand, both of them collapsing in a giggling heap. "Okay, team," Sophie said, clapping her hands like a camp counselor. "First mission, explore the island. We need food, shelter, and, most importantly, fun. Let's split up and meet back here before the sun sets. And Noah, no more whoopee cushions until we've got a base camp." Noah saluted dramatically. "Aye, aye, Captain Sophie." Then he whispered to Ava, "I'm totally bringing it." The kids split into 2 groups. Sophie, Liam, and Ava headed toward the jungle, while Emma and Noah decided to check out the rocky cliffs along the shore. The jungle crew pushed through thick vines, the air buzzing with the hum of insects and the occasional screech of a parrot. Liam, who'd watched way too many survival shows, kept pointing out useful plants, only to realize half of them were just weird-looking ferns. "Admit it, Liam," Sophie teased, ducking under a low branch. "You have no idea what you're doing." "I'm improvising," Liam shot back, tripping over a root and landing face first in a pile of leaves. Ava snorted, sketching the moment in her notebook for posterity. Meanwhile, Emma and Noah were having their own adventure. The cliffs were steep and slippery, but Noah insisted on climbing every rock like he was Spider-Man. "Check it out, Emma. I'm king of the island," he shouted, striking a pose at the top of a boulder. Then he slipped, tumbling into a shallow tide pool with a spectacular splash. Emma doubled over, laughing so hard she had to sit down. "King of the island, huh? More like king of the puddle." Noah emerged, dripping wet, with a starfish stuck to his shirt. "This guy agrees with me," he said, pointing at the starfish. "He's my royal advisor now." Back in the jungle, Sophie's group stumbled upon something amazing. A clearing with a sparkling waterfall cascading into a crystal-clear pool. Ava gasped, already sketching the scene. "This is like straight out of a movie. We could swim here, maybe even make a diving board." Liam, ever the optimist, was already tasting the water. "It's fresh. We've got drinking water, guys. We're basically pros at this survival thing now." Sophie grinned, imagining the possibilities. "This is our HQ. We'll build a camp right here, with the waterfall as our personal water park." Noah's gonna lose his mind when he sees this. As the sun began to dip toward the horizon, the kids regrouped on the beach, their arms full of treasures, vines, coconuts, and a suspiciously large leaf that Liam swore was perfect for a roof. Noah proudly showed off his starfish, which he'd named Sir Sucky, while Emma recounted his epic tide pool flop. The group collapsed in the sand, laughing until their sides hurt, already planning their next move. "Okay," Sophie said, catching her breath. "Tomorrow we build Camp Awesome, but tonight let's roast some coconuts and tell the dumbest stories we can think of. Deal?" "Deal," the others cheered as Noah sneakily placed the whoopee cushion under Liam's backpack, setting the stage for another round of giggles. The next morning, the beach was a chaos of coconut shells, half-eaten bananas, and 5 kids who looked like they'd just rolled out of a piñata. The sunrise painted the sky in pinks and oranges, but Noah was already up, plotting his next prank. He'd found a pile of seaweed during the night and draped it over Liam's sleeping form, turning him into what Noah proudly called the swamp monster. When Liam woke up, flailing and yelling about being attacked by an octopus, the others howled with laughter, rolling in the sand. "Very funny, Noah," Liam grumbled, picking seaweed out of his hair. "You're lucky I don't turn you into a sushi roll." "Bring it, Swampy," Noah taunted, darting behind a palm tree. He peeked out, holding Sir Sucky the starfish like a shield. "My royal advisor says you're no match for me." Sophie, who was already sketching a blueprint for Camp Awesome in the sand, clapped her hands to get everyone's attention. "All right, pranksters, focus. Today, we're building the coolest camp ever. We've got the waterfall for water, vines for ropes, and Liam's giant leaf for whatever Liam thinks it's for." "It's a roof," Liam insisted, holding up the leaf, which promptly tore in half. Ava snorted, adding a quick doodle of Liam's sad leaf to her notebook. Emma, ever the organizer, started assigning jobs. "Sophie, you and Ava work on the shelter. Liam, you're on food duty. Find something that isn't bananas. Noah, you're with me. We're making a signal fire, and if you prank me again, I'm tying you to a coconut tree." Noah gasped dramatically. "You wouldn't dare. Sir Sucky would stage a protest." "Try me," Emma said, narrowing her eyes, but a smile tugged at her lips. The group split up, buzzing with energy, ready to turn their island into a playground. At the waterfall clearing, Sophie and Ava got to work. Sophie climbed a tree like a monkey, tying vines to sturdy branches to create a frame for their shelter. Ava, meanwhile, was weaving palm fronds into mats, her fingers flying like she was crafting a masterpiece. "This is going to be better than my treehouse back home," Ava said, grinning. "We need a name for it. How about the Coconut Castle?" "Perfect," Sophie called, swinging from a vine like Tarzan. "But it needs a slide." "Every castle needs a slide." She pointed to a smooth, sloping rock near the waterfall. "We could cover that with leaves and make it super slippery." Ava's eyes lit up. "Genius. Noah's gonna slide right into the pool and probably take Sir Sucky with him." Back on the beach, Liam was on a mission to prove he was more than just the swamp monster. He scoured the shoreline, hoping to find fish, crabs, or anything edible. Instead, he stumbled across a washed-up crate labeled "Emergency Supplies." His heart raced as he pried it open, only to find a dozen cans of neon green lime soda. Seriously? He muttered, holding up a can. Who put soda in an emergency kit? He hauled the crate back to the group, and when the others saw it, they lost it. Lime soda? Sophie cackled. We're gonna be the fizziest castaways in history. Noah grabbed a can, shook it like a maraca, and popped the tab. A geyser of green foam shot into the air, drenching him from head to toe. I'm a lime-flavored superhero, he declared, striking a pose as the others collapsed in giggles. Even Emma, who was trying to stack driftwood for the signal fire, couldn't keep a straight face. Focus, Noah, Emma said, wiping tears from her eyes. We need this fire to signal for help. And no, lime soda doesn't count as fuel. Spoil sport, Noah muttered, but he helped her pile the wood, secretly tucking the whoopee cushion under a piece of driftwood. When Emma sat down to rest, the inevitable piaf-faft echoed across the beach, and she chased him into the surf, both of them laughing until they were soaked. By midday, Camp Awesome was taking shape. The coconut castle had a sturdy vine frame, a palm frond roof, and a slippery rock slide that Ava had tested and approved with a whoop of joy. Liam had managed to find some wild mangoes in the jungle, which he presented like they were gold medals. See? I'm not just the soda guy, he said, tossing a mango to Sophie. You're still swampy, Sophie teased, but she bit into the mango, juice dripping down her chin. Okay, these are amazing. Good job, Swampy. The group gathered at the waterfall for lunch, passing around mangoes and lime soda, which they sipped cautiously after Noah's foam explosion. Noah, of course, couldn't resist another prank. He'd found a hollow coconut shell and filled it with water, balancing it precariously above the slide. When Liam took a turn, the shell tipped, dumping water all over him. Noah! Liam roared, but he was laughing too hard to sound mad. You gotta admit, it's refreshing, Noah said, dodging Liam's playful swat. Sir Sucky, still stuck to Noah's shirt, seemed to bob in agreement. As the afternoon rolled on, the kids decided to turn the island into their personal amusement park. Sophie and Ava rigged a vine swing over the waterfall pool, and soon everyone was taking turns launching themselves into the water with dramatic flips and silly poses. Noah invented a game called coconut bowling, using coconuts to knock over stacks of empty soda cans. Emma, who was usually all business, got weirdly competitive, cheering like a sports announcer when she scored a strike. Coconut champion, right here, she shouted, high-fiving Ava. Noah, not to be outdone, tried to juggle 3 coconuts, only to drop them all on his foot. His exaggerated hop of pain sent the group into another fit of laughter. By sunset, the kids were sprawled around the signal fire, which Emma had finally gotten going. The flames crackled, sending sparks into the twilight, and the air smelled of smoke and mangoes. Sophie strummed an imaginary guitar, leading the group in a made-up song about their island adventures. The lyrics were ridiculous. Oh, we're stuck with bananas and Noah's bad pranks. But they sang at the top of their lungs, their voices echoing through the jungle. Noah, predictably, ended the night with one last prank. He'd snuck the whoopee cushion into Ava's sleeping spot, and when she flopped down, the PFFFT was so loud it startled a nearby parrot, which squawked and flew off in a huff. Noah, you're impossible, Ava said, but she was giggling as she threw a mango peel at him. As the fire died down, the kids lay back staring at the stars. You know, Liam said, his glasses reflecting the embers, being shipwrecked isn't so bad with you guys. Speak for yourself, Swampy, Sophie said, but she was smiling. Tomorrow we're adding a zip line to the coconut castle. Who's with me? Me, the others chorused, their voices full of excitement for another day of island shenanigans. The third day on the island dawned with a symphony of snores, squawking parrots, and the faint pfft of Noah's whoopee cushion, which he'd somehow wedged under Emma's sleeping mat during the night. Emma bolted upright, her braid a frazzled mess, and lobbed a coconut at Noah, who was already sprinting toward the coconut castle, cackling like a supervillain. You're gonna live in that tide pool with Sir Sucky, she shouted, but her grin betrayed her amusement. Sophie, stretching by the waterfall, called everyone to order. All right, comedy club, let's make today epic. The coconut castle is awesome. The zipline's a hit, but we need a grand finale. Something to make this island remember us. Her eyes sparkled with mischief, and the others leaned in, sensing a plan worthy of their shenanigans. Ava, sketching a parrot in her notebook, piped up. What if we build a raft? Not a boring one, but like the ultimate party raft, with a slide, a soda fountain, and maybe a coconut cannon. Her enthusiasm was infectious, and Noah's jaw dropped. "A coconut cannon?" he said, clutching Sirsuki like it was his muse. "Ava, you're a genius. We'll blast coconuts into the sea and sail away like pirates." Liam, still picking mango pits from his teeth, adjusted his glasses skeptically. "A raft sounds cool, but how do we make it float? I'm not swimming back to civilization as Swampy the sea monster." Emma smirked, already in planning mode. "We've got vines, logs, and all those empty soda cans. We tie it together, test it in the waterfall pool, and boom, party raft. Plus, the signal fire's been burning. Someone's gotta see it eventually." The kids dove into action with the energy of a sugar-fueled birthday party. Sophie and Liam headed to the jungle to haul back logs, with Liam tripping over roots and muttering about survival skills, while Sophie swung from vines, yelling, "I'm the queen of the jungle." Ava and Noah worked on the raft's special features, rigging a slide from palm fronds and a soda fountain that was just a stack of lime soda cans rigged to spray when poked. Noah, of course, tested it immediately, soaking himself and Sirsuki in green fizz. "I'm a lime-flavored legend," he declared, striking a pose as Ava doubled over laughing. Emma supervised the raft's construction on the beach, tying logs with vines so tightly even a hurricane couldn't break them. "This is going to be the MV Party Raft," she said, naming it with a flourish. MV stands for Most Valuable, obviously. By noon, the raft was a masterpiece. A sturdy platform of logs, decorated with palm leaves, a wobbly slide, and a coconut cannon made from a hollow log that Noah swore could hit the moon. The soda fountain was less reliable, mostly spraying anyone who got too close, but that only added to the fun. The kids dragged it to the waterfall pool for a test run, and Sophie insisted on being the first captain. "All aboard," she shouted, climbing onto the raft with a dramatic salute. The others piled on, and they pushed off, paddling with makeshift oars. The raft wobbled, then steadied, floating triumphantly as they cheered. Noah fired the coconut cannon, launching a coconut into the pool with a splash that sent a wave over Liam, who spluttered, "I'm swampy again." The test was a success, but as they paddled back to shore, Ava squinted at the horizon. "Guys, is that smoke?" She pointed to a faint plume rising from the sea, not from their signal fire but something else, something moving. Emma's eyes widened. "That's a ship! A real ship!" The kids scrambled to the beach, waving their arms and shouting like they were auditioning for a talent show. Noah grabbed the whoopee cushion and started pumping it, creating a rhythmic psst that echoed across the water. "They'll hear us or die laughing," he said, grinning. Liam sprinted to the signal fire, tossing on more driftwood until the flames roared. Sophie and Ava grabbed palm fronds, waving them like giant flags, while Emma cupped her hands and yelled, "Help! We're here! And we have soda!" The ship's silhouette grew closer, its horn blaring in response, and the kids erupted in cheers, hugging each other and jumping in the sand. As the ship, a sleek Coast Guard vessel, dropped anchor, the kids realized their party raft was their ticket off the island. "We're sailing out in style," Sophie declared, and they dragged the MV party raft to the shore, loading it with their backpacks, the last of the mangoes, and of course, Sirsuki. Noah insisted on bringing the whoopee cushion, tucking it into his bag with a wink. "For emergencies," he said. The Coast Guard crew, a mix of stern officers and bemused sailors, stared in disbelief as the kids paddled out on their ridiculous raft, complete with a soda fountain that sprayed an officer in the face. "What is this?" one sailor asked, wiping lime soda from his beard. "It's the MV Party Raft," Ava said proudly, sketching the ship in her notebook. Patent pending. The crew helped them aboard the ship, where the kids recounted their adventure between fits of laughter, from Noah's pranks to Liam's swamp monster moment. The officers couldn't help but chuckle, especially when Noah accidentally sat on the whoopee cushion during the debriefing, sending the entire crew into hysterics. As the ship sailed toward civilization, the kids stood at the railing, watching their island shrink into the distance. The coconut castle, the waterfall, and the zip line were just specks now, but the memories were larger than life. Sophie slung an arm around Emma. "We turned a shipwreck into the best vacation ever." "Totally," Emma said, grinning. "But next time, I'm checking the cruise ship's safety record." Liam pushed his glasses up, holding a mango like a trophy. I'm just glad I'm not swampy anymore. Though I'm kinda gonna miss those mangoes. Ava closed her notebook, where she'd sketched their entire adventure. We should make a comic book about this. Call it Stranded Shenanigans. Noah, cradling Sirsuki, had the last word. And I'm keeping the cannon. Next stop, coconut world domination. He fired an imaginary coconut into the sea, and the others laughed so hard they nearly fell over. As the ship's horn blared, signaling their approach to a bustling port, the kids knew one thing for sure. They'd survived, they'd laughed, and they'd turned an island into a legend. And somewhere, in the back of Noah's bag, the whoopee cushion waited for its next grand performance.